to date, after about a year and a half now that I've been hosting volunteers, there has only been one person that I have kicked out of my house, and it just happened this week. There were other people that I would have kicked out of my house, but they left before I had the opportunity to, or I wasn't quite sure enough at the time because it was early on. We talked about some of them in our asshole video, like the guy who tried to poison the vegans. I was going to kick that guy out, but he left before I could. But this is the first person I have had to directly confront and say, you need to get the fuck out of my house because what you've done is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form, and I am not comfortable with you being here anymore. And it frankly left everyone in the house, because they were all witness to this whole thing, feeling quite icky and violated and questioning how on earth did this guy ever get here in the first place, because he actually did pass the asshole test. Let's use a fake name for him. What should his name be?
Creepy? No.
Let's call him Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jacob was a young Armenian man who contacted me through one of our social media profiles. And he even said we had mutual connections. He knew some of the same people I know who had talked about what we're doing here, people we'd worked with in various positive capacities. So I had no reason to think anything bad about him. He passed all our usual screening shit test process. He seemed to actually understand what we were doing. He knew some of the same people we knew. He passed the asshole tests. He laughed and said he wasn't an asshole when I asked him if he was an asshole, and he knew why I was asking that. He actually seemed to have read our website, right? So everything seems fine up front. And most of the people who come here aren't local Armenians. They're mostly international people. So I think it's a good thing whenever we can get locals involved with what we're doing and get more established with the local community. So I was looking forward to this young man, Jacob, coming here. But when he came here, from day one, it became clear he had some personality aberrations that were problematic. And this has happened a couple times. I talked about it in our very first video where we were talking about lessons learned from being a host, where I said sometimes you get someone who they haven't necessarily, hi Anna, you're kind of an asshole, rude. Sometimes you get someone who hasn't really broken any rules, not enough that you need to reprimand them or ask them to leave or something, but you just don't like them very much. They're a bit odd, a bit weird, a bit lazy maybe, or in this guy's case, a bit creepy. Yeah. He was a bit creepy.
He was.
And I've actually derived the name of a principle now from my experiences with this guy. It's the creepy or criminal principle. Mm-hmm. So there is a very fine line between being creepy or just acting in a way that I generally don't like and the people around you don't like, but isn't breaking the law, isn't a clear act of a violation of morality or respect or just, whatever you want to call it, like something that you can clearly delineate as this is absolutely not okay, the thing you just did, right? Until the third day he was here. That's when it crossed over from creepy to criminal. Why don't you tell us about your first impressions with this man? Because again, he was mostly interacting with you and the other volunteers more than me as the host. So I was hearing these stories from all of you for the first couple of days, right?
First, he arrived at, 11 p.m. or midnight, I don't know. And I was in the bed and really tired because I just arrived. And he woke me up because he could speak with me in Iranian and asked me are you sleeping naked? And I was like, who the hell are you?
What a great first conversation to have.
Hello. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Because normally I prefer to respond none of your business, but I was thinking maybe I can ask more few questions to understand. Is he know my language enough, or he's asking? Because in English I would respond very harsh, it's not your business. But because it was in Iranian, so I was confused. And do you know what do you mean? Do you know what is this question? I said, yeah. Are you sleeping naked? And I was like, why you are asking me this question? And who are you? I just arrived, and can you have this conversation tomorrow? And the next day after that,
this is urgent. He needs to know right now.
Yeah. Am I first? I am far from you, 5 meters in my bed. Everything is dark. Why should I be naked even if I am naked, I am in my bed under my blanket. Like, what is this question? Who is asking? After that, like farting non-stop, you should delete those things in the room. So it was like so uncivilized behavior as a roommate, but you couldn't count it like a creepy person. You would say like maybe in their family or in their wife that he raised, it was like this. But why it's like this? And he was very sensitive about to be clean, and the cats shouldn't be in the room with us, but farting as long as he could. It was not the same person at the same time. Yeah, it was just about me as a roommate, but at the same time, like say some weird song to our volunteer Russian, which the song was about the criminals. For him, it was like a little weird, like why you are, and asking you again, like, do you know this Russian song? Do you know? And we were like,
it was like the equivalent of like gangster rap or something. Or like
yeah, exactly.
Criminal
And
music.
But we didn't know the topic until the Russian volunteer said. But it was funny that he was insisting that you, as a Californian boy, should know this Russian. And we were like,
all the Californians.
yeah,
are
like what do you mean? Like
rap.
something was weird about him, but and some like very rude with volunteer and interrupting people. But it was not something that, as you say, like you kicked out a person because he is a little rude or a little uncivilized or bad behavior.
Right. So, but then his behavior became more problematic whenever women were involved.
Yeah.
Right? There was one woman staying with us at the time he arrived, right? How did he behave toward this woman or say about this woman to you?
Not to me, to you. It was to you. Like he asked another volunteer, like, how do you like texting in the kitchen at the same time when they were together, because he wants to hide it, and ask him that. Do you feel the same as me about her? Do you have this feeling about her? Because she was beautiful Russian girl, and she was here because of some of her friends.
She was a friend of another volunteer.
Yeah, not because of him. And yeah, it was like weird, like.
Yeah, and he was like asking the friend, is she your girlfriend?
Yeah. How is what is between them? Is it a relationship or friendship? So checking, like, can I have a chance for something with her or what? And
again, not my favorite way for people to act, but also I'm a guy, I get it, I understand. You see a cute girl, you start thinking things like, she's single, I don't know, maybe we'll get, like, I get that, right? So it's weird, but it's not at that level where it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get the fuck out of my house, right? It's just, if at most it's a bit rude and a bit inconsiderate.
Yeah, but the red flag get up. Like you are like, maybe I should think about this person, maybe.
Yeah, you at least want to pay attention, because if this becomes a habit, like every day the same thing is happening. Yeah, then you start to say, okay, like at the very least we need to have a serious conversation about this, because this can't continue like this, right? And then the girl I mentioned, the 19-year-old Iranian girl from the last video we were talking about, the one who messaged me, and basically the only thing she said about herself was that she was desperate for a place to stay, and then she sent 10 flirty selfie pictures of herself. So that's disqualification on 2 counts, because we don't want to take desperate people for reasons I've already elaborated on in other videos. And 2, it was very strange that she chose to portray herself in this flirty selfie kind of way 10 times. Because again, either she's intentionally trying to create that appearance, like that, hey, maybe she'll flirt with me, maybe something will happen between us if she comes here, or she doesn't understand that that's the kind of impression she's creating, right? So I just said, no, sorry, we're full, we can't host you, right? Like, good luck though. And he was in the room with us when I got these messages, and I said, well, look, and I showed the rest of you, like, look at, why is this girl sending me these like flirty selfies? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it's so strange to me. I wasn't at all like trying to denigrate this person, and I was just like genuinely so confused, like, why would somebody choose, this is not a dating app. That's what I said, right? Like, Workaway is not a dating app.
Especially when they saying like, or she was saying like, I don't have a place to sleep, and I need to come there, please accept me, although you are full. So like a person who is begging you, and at the same time some photos that it's not necessary to send
Right,
to
like
your
no,
host.
seeing just like generally what you look like or what kind of activities you participate in. There's a reason you
Yeah.
have photos on a profile, but they shouldn't all be 10 flirty selfies, right?
Yeah.
And so all the volunteers were witness to this happening, and that was the end of it as far as I was concerned. I just declined her and left the room. And then you start telling me some very concerning shit that happened after
Yeah.
that. What happened after that?
Actually, the point about me was because he could speak Iranian, so he was kind of like see me as a, I don't know, big brother or person who can gossip with without sharing with others at the same time. So he asked me like, can I have like, no, first time he said that when she is coming, and I said she's not coming, and like a joke, like I was thinking like it's a joke between two boys.
Yeah, because I said very clearly that I'm declining.
Yeah.
Right? But
Everybody
he's still asking, well, when is that
understood.
girl coming?
Yeah,
When is that
and the
19-year-old
next
Iranian
day,
girl coming?
and after that, another day, the next day, like 2 days after these things that you decided that she's not coming, but share with us like I had these messages from this volunteer, this person, and he asked me maybe 10 times, when she's coming, can I have her number? And I was like, no, like fuck off and something like this. And at the end I got like really serious, like, oh my god, it's not for you a joke. And all of them was in Iranian, so nobody could understand like he is telling me those things. And
It's like a secret code. That
yeah, it
no
was
one else in the
secret
house will
code
understand.
because
Yeah.
it was a different language. And I got serious and said, hey dude, first I don't know this person, I don't have any number or account of her, and like it's not my responsibility to answer you. If you really want, you can ask Greg. And for me it was not like I'm addressing him to you, like sending him to you.
It's not. It has nothing to do with you,
Yeah,
right?
I was like, this is not fucking, it's not my fucking business, and not sending to you. And maybe after lunch he came to me and said, how can I ask Greg about her number? And it was like, oh my god, your mind is completely fucked up. And I said, in English? And he said, no, I don't mean like in which language, of course in English. How? And I was like, I don't know, like when you want to have a cup of tea, how you ask for somebody's number the same.
But he was saying like, what can I say to Greg
Yeah.
to get him to give me her
but
number?
I got
right?
his point, like, how can I say it that it's not creepy and lie to him? And his question was exactly this, maybe, that how can I lie to Greg, in your opinion, Amir, that he will give me her number? And I send you like the message
so he's like messaging me saying, by the way, this guy keeps trying to get that homeless Iranian girl's number from you. He's gonna come in and try to get her number. Like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him, why he's obsessed with this girl, but he really, really wants to get her number from you.
So get ready, he's coming.
And I thought there's a 50% chance he's joking or exaggerating, or this isn't actually going to happen, because it just seems so absurd. I think I just responded, "Oh my god, are you serious?" Like, you even warned me, like, he's coming right now. He's coming to your room to ask. And I said, "What?"
Because in the beginning for me it was like a joke, like you are saying like jokes like, I want to have a girlfriend, why she's not, and at the end like I figured out, no, it's serious, like he really wants to have somebody's number that nobody here know her.
Yeah, remember, none of us know this girl. Literally the only thing we know is these few messages she sent us saying, I don't have a place to sleep, I'm desperate to come there, here's what I look like. Over and over again. That is the only thing any of us know about this girl. That is the only thing he knows about her. Well, then he sends me a message. He says, hey Gregory, I think I recognize that Iranian girl who messaged you. Can I have her number to see if it's the same person? And I'm in the room with Amir and the other volunteers as this is happening. I said, look at the fucking message this guy just sent me. After you just told me that he's been lying to you and desperate to try to get this girl's number. And so now this shows my evolution as a host of over a year and a half. Because a year ago, the way I would have responded to this situation would have been something like, what should I do about this? Like, I need to have a conversation with this guy and try to figure out why he's trying to get her number, like, or should I just ignore him and hope he stops asking me? Or I would have been much more gentle and delicate about the situation. And instead, this time, it was pretty much instantaneous. Okay, this guy just lied to me.
Yeah.
Before, he was a creep, a weirdo. What the hell is he doing here? He doesn't belong here. Radiohead. And now I have confirmed that he is directly lying to me about this girl and his relationship with her. For what reason, I can't be sure, but I can assume a few things. But I know for sure that he is lying to me right now about this. He's attempting to manipulate me. This man living in my house who's only been here a few days has decided to try to manipulate me, to lie me, to get him to do something that he knows I wouldn't want to do otherwise. Okay,
Exactly.
I'm going to kick him out now. That's it. That's the line. You just became a criminal. You went from a creep to a criminal. So I just go up to him and I say, hey, Jacob, a quick question. Why are you lying to me? I'm not lying to you. What are you talking about? Yeah, you just told me you know this girl and that's why you want her number, but you don't actually know this girl. Oh yeah, I met her in a bar in Yerevan. When? Last October, I met her there and I'm pretty sure it's the same girl, so I just want to make sure. Now, the day before, Jacob had asked me to print a picture of Jesus from my printer because he wanted to pray to this picture of Jesus. little backstory, which, you know, I'm not religious, and to me that's a bit strange, but I don't judge the spiritual beliefs and habits of other people. If this guy wants to pray to a picture of Jesus, if it makes him more comfortable staying in my house, fine. I obliged him, printed out a picture of Jesus that he hung up like a mural or a shrine. So I'm thinking, well, this guy has a really strong impression of Jesus. He seems really devoutly religious. And so I say, hey, come upstairs, do a picture of Jesus with me. He says, okay. I say, tell Jesus right now that the story you just told me that you met this girl in a bar last October is true. He says, I swear to Jesus, it's true. It's completely true. I swear to God. Look, I'm telling the truth to you and to Jesus. I know this girl. I met her in a bar last October. Amir is in the room for all of this. And then I say, well, actually, Amir already told me that you didn't know this girl, but that you were looking for reasons for ways you could get this girl's number from me. Lies you could tell me. So actually, I already know that you don't know this girl because Amir told me everything. And then immediately, yeah, okay, I'm lying.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised, like, immediately. Yeah, I lied.
Yeah. Okay, you caught me. I lied. I don't know her. This is a devoutly religious man who prays to the image of Jesus at night, who is perfectly fine with just fabricating this story in front of me and his God.
And it was nice that it was 4 of us, so like we are not deluded, like everybody
Yeah, we
saw.
all witnessed, everyone was in the room for this happening.
Actually, we were pretending that we are like cleaning the wall, or like there is something important.
Or are you guys fighting about something? We can't, yeah. But
yeah, but it was all of us, and he said, I lied, like...
Like just nothing, like complete psychopathic switch from truth, lie, doesn't matter, right? Yeah, this is true, no, this is true, no, this is true, doesn't matter, right? Like just, like, I don't want to play armchair psychiatrist, but to me that is so fucking, like, alarming that someone can do that. Like, very quickly say, yeah, I constructed this elaborate story, and actually none of it was true. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I was lying. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? And then I said to him, yeah, you definitely need to leave my house. That's definitely not okay. I don't know what the fuck your intentions with this homeless 19-year-old girl were. All I know is that the only thing you know about her is that she is desperate for a place to stay, and you think she's cute because you saw some selfies she sent. And for that reason, you want to contact this girl, and I can only assume the worst possible things about that. Do you see why that's creepy? He didn't. And I said, if you were this girl's father, would you want her interacting with someone like you? And I think for a brief moment when I framed it that way, he said, yeah, okay, I see your point. I see what you mean, okay. And I said, you need to go pack your things now. It was raining at the time, so I said, can I wait till it stops raining? I said, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna make you walk out in the rain, even if you are a fucking creepy pervert, right? And I said, I will even help you arrange a taxi for you just to make sure you get the fuck out of my house safely. And because that's, at that point, my primary concern is, I need this man out of my house. I need to make sure he has no reason to come back to my house, or to like get upset and like break something on the way out, or attack me. I don't know what this person is capable of. So I say, look, yeah, fine, you can wait till it stops raining. I will arrange a taxi for you. I will make sure you get home safely. That is the most I'm willing to do for you right now. And so, you know, maybe half an hour goes by. We're in separate rooms now because I don't even want to be in the same fucking room as this fucking creep anymore while we're waiting for it to stop raining. And like 3 separate times, he comes back up to my room, knocks on the door, and wants to continue the conversation with me. I don't really have any other choice but to do so, because if I started reacting in a negative kind of way, I might get some kind of negative reaction from him. So I need him to stay in a good enough mood while he's still in my house, so that he will not be a danger to me or my property or to anyone else in the house, because I don't know what this guy is capable of at this point. And every time he comes to talk to me, he's trying to normalize and justify his behavior.
Yeah.
He didn't say, like, he had like an apologetic tone, kind of, but he didn't really like apologize for what he did. I don't believe he saw anything wrong with what he did. Like, he was upset that I was upset. Certainly, like, he didn't, like, that's the thing, like, he's not an asshole in that traditional sense, because an asshole wouldn't care that someone is upset. Like, he did seem to mind that he had made me upset, right? But he also didn't seem to think there was anything wrong with what he did. So he starts trying to tell me why he wanted this girl's phone number. He said, I want to give her a place to live to convince her to become my girlfriend. Like, that's a normal thing to do and like a healthy thing to do. And I realized, because I've lived in Armenia long enough now and interacted with enough young Armenian men, for some of them, that is normal. That's their paradigm of how you attract a mate. They have a practice here called patsmel, I think, which basically means to kidnap. And so, like, early on when I moved here, and I would talk about like girls I was dating or interested in who lived in Yerevan or something, some of my neighbors would say, I guess in complete seriousness, oh, you should just kidnap her. In his mind, that is a totally normal, good thing to do. To the point that he's like saying, like trying to justify to me, he said, can I talk to you man to man? Like, you're a guy, Gregory, you'll get it. We've all done this before, right? We've all taken in hopeless teenagers and convinced them to become our girlfriends. Who doesn't do that, right? I've done it 7 times in my 20s. And I'm like, okay, so part of me, I'm stuck in this conversation with him. Like, I prefer not to be talking to him at all, but since he insists on talking to me, I'm trying to think, like, should I just play along and just tell him whatever he wants to hear? Like, yeah, buddy, you're right. Oh, it's not that big a deal. Or should I, like, see if it's at all possible for me to talk some kind of sense into him? Because he's quite young, early 20s, right? People believe stupid things when they're young, and there's still time for your brain to grow and mature. And maybe, like, if he sees the reaction I have to what he's telling me, that might, like, somehow signal to him, oh, there's something wrong with what I'm doing. Like, why would this person who otherwise seems very intelligent and mature and has his life together thinks this is like a horrible thing to be doing, right? Like, I'm hoping.
Exactly.
And I will never confirm this, because we'll never talk to this piece of shit ever again. But I hope this is the effect I had on him with the few short conversations I had. And I said, no, man, do you not see how fucking creepy that is? Like, you're offering to help this girl, but you're not telling her the real reason you're helping her is because you want to seduce her, that you want to trick her into becoming your girlfriend. Can you imagine, like, if I did that as a host? I said to him, like, if I told, yeah, girls, you can come over to my house and come volunteer and stay, I'll give you a place to live, but while you're here, you have to be naked in front of me. Like, and I didn't tell them that till they got here. Like, do you see how creepy that would be? Jacob, like, and like, I'm trying to frame it in a way where it will be obvious, like, yeah, okay, yeah, there would be something wrong with that. Like, I'm trying to use some kind of comparison, but I have no idea how this man's brain works, because he's said things to me with a completely straight face that he thinks are fine and normal, that to any sane, mature, healthy person with a small amount of respect for women would say, no, oh, holy shit, that's like the creepiest thing I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like repeatedly stressing to him, like, no, that is not acceptable behavior, man. Like, you really need to go home and reflect on what you've done here, but you cannot stay here. I will not participate in any of what you're planning to do with this girl or anyone else. This is absolutely not okay. I hope you go home and think about what I have told you here. And then he just left without waiting for the taxi that I had arranged for him. I didn't even realize he was gone. You just told me, yeah, he just carried all his stuff and walked out the house. And I said, okay, well, I mean, I went through the trouble of offering him a dignified exit by arranging a taxi for him, but he just decided to leave, which again was common among the assholes, that many of them just left without saying anything, probably because on some level they felt ashamed of their actions, that they didn't want to confront. Like, probably after that really intense conversation with me, maybe he started to feel a little bit of guilt and shame, and he didn't want to confront me again after that. Otherwise, why wouldn't he stay until the taxi arrives and at least say, bye, sorry, it didn't work out, right? Like, if you truly felt you didn't do anything wrong, why wouldn't you say, bye, thanks for hosting me, sorry. And he did ask is this like a permanent ban, or maybe can I come back next year? And again, I'm stuck in a very awkward position now where I either have to say, no, you piece of shit, like I don't want to be anywhere near you, like what, or I have to like try to gradually play around his sensibilities, right? And so I say to him, Jacob, why did you want to come here in the first place? Like, what were you hoping to get out of being a volunteer here? Like, and why do you think you'd want to come here again in a year? Honestly, tell me, like, why, like, do you have a good reason here? Like, maybe he'll tell me something that surprises me. And he just said basically like, well, I like doing physical work. I like working with my hands. It's very rewarding. Do you have any complaints about how I worked while I was here? Like, I'm a good worker, right? And I said, yeah, you did fine. Like, he was helping with the firewood and a few other things, at least that I saw. Like, I wasn't directly observing him much, but I said, that's not the issue here, man. Like, do you not get that? Like, I'm not kicking you out because you didn't do enough work. I'm kicking you out because you're creepy and weird and manipulative as shit. And then he said to me, well, yeah, Gregory, I can see why what I said to you was a manipulation, but it wasn't really a lie. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? A lie is a type of manipulation. That was a direct lie. You deliberately told me something that wasn't true in an effort to deceive me. Like, how is that not a lie? He's, in his mind, he just... Anyway.
No, actually, for him, it was not. He couldn't see that our policy, or here we want to make a safe place for girls, boys, mostly girls, and it's not a vibe that we want to pretend, but it is not.
Yeah,
like
he
really
quoted
mean
the
it.
fucking website to me.
Yeah.
When I said, no, you lied to me. You were not being transparent about why you wanted this girl's phone number. And he said, oh yeah, you talk about transparency on your website. Like, it's one of the values on the website. And I said, how do you know that? And you chose to come here and you act this way. Like that's what's so strange about it, that he fooled me, right? And he like, on a superficial sense, he understood who we are, what we're doing, what we value. But in his own mind, it's like he's playing by a completely different set of rules. And yeah, then he left. And he also said before he left, please don't tell any of the mutual people we know about this. Because remember I said when he first contacted me, he said, yeah, I know some of the same people you know, I've worked with them. And I said, oh, that's cool, right? And he said, you're not going to tell any of them about this, right? Now, first of all, again, if he thinks he hasn't done anything wrong, why is he worried what people will think about him, right?
Yeah.
And does he actually now like starting to think that he's done something wrong and he should be ashamed of his actions, or is he just worried about what other people will think, right? We can't tell because the guy's a fucking psychopath, and like reality and fiction, there's no difference in his mind, right?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, well, you know, I don't talk to those people very much, so I have no reason to tell them anything, right? Again, I'm just saying this to get him the fuck out of my house, right? Because I do not want to cause any kind of fight or upset.
Yeah, because you don't know how psychopath they are.
Yeah, exactly. Once you've determined someone might be crazy, you have to assume they're capable of anything, right? Don't underestimate crazy people. Number one life tip. Never underestimate a crazy person. We will talk about another crazy person in our next video and why we made the mistake of underestimating her. And so, you know, he leaves. I'm just fucking relieved that he's gone. And the next day, I'm thinking, you know, the fact that he specifically told me he didn't want me to tell these people about what he did here makes me think I probably should tell them about what he did. There's some specific reason he doesn't want these people to know what happened. And so, and again, I don't know these people well. I don't like regularly have conversations with them. So I, you know, call them and tell them, hey, you know, I don't know what your relationship to this guy Jacob is, but he just became the first person I've ever kicked out of my house, and here's why, right? I just give him the facts. This is what he did. This was our reaction. You know, and for all I know, these kinds of people might be the kind of people who think that that's perfectly okay behavior. Maybe they'd say like, well, I don't understand, Gregory, what's the problem? That's how I met my wife. Like, who knows? Because there are millions too, right? So I don't know if this is going to get a positive or a negative response, but I just tell them like, yeah, hey, by the way, this is what happened. Do whatever you want with that information. I'm happy to tell you more if you want. Otherwise, I'll leave it alone, right? And then they respond to me and say, actually, yeah, we've had a problem with that guy too. Around some women that we worked with. We had to tell him to stop talking to a girl he became obsessed with. And I said, holy shit. and they said, yeah, maybe we're going to stop associating with this guy, or make sure he's never alone in a room with a woman after what you just told us. So I don't want to know a single fucking thing about this person. I hope I never hear about or from him again. But for all I know, you know, maybe he would have gone on to be in a position where he's able to take advantage of some young woman, either by physical force or psychological manipulation. I don't know. But if more people know about what this guy did, they can at least take actions to prevent that. And maybe there's a fraction of a percent of a chance that I actually said something that would cause him to self-reflect upon his behavior and decide, maybe I shouldn't be such a fucking creep anymore. Maybe.
Exactly. And counted as a creepy behavior.
Yes. If he sees that all of us, like, we're having this, like, visually upsetting reaction to everything he did. So if he sees 4 grown men that he presumably respects and likes, like, treat him like he's a fucking freak, then maybe that's like sending enough of a signal to him, I shouldn't be this way anymore.
Yeah.
What would Gregory do? Probably not this. Probably not try to trick a homeless 19-year-old girl into becoming my girlfriend.
Yeah.
What would Jesus do? I don't know.
Oh
I don't
my God,
know.
what
But I don't think he would have done that. Holy shit. Like, I was like, honestly, I'm still in shock because this was recent. And then the funniest thing of all, the day after he left, 4 young women from Yerevan came to stay with us. 4 what I would call young, attractive, dressed up women.
Something that he was looking for.
Yeah, exactly
actually.
the kind of thing he was looking for came and stayed the day after he left. So you can only imagine what he would have done if he had been in the house at the same time as them.
Exactly.
I honestly feel bad for him.
Yeah, I hope soon he will feel bad about himself also. Because he was like, I'm not doing something wrong in my culture, but you people from Western country or other countries sees something like this bad. But okay.
Yeah, he even tried to say like, well, Gregory, this, is for Armenian men. This is how it is. You came here, you found an Armenian wife. And I'm looking at him wondering, like, is he thinking that's how I met the woman I married? Like, something like that? Like, no, like, I don't even want to go into, like, the details. Like, no, this is someone I've known for, like, almost a decade. Like, we were friends for a very long time. And what you're describing is nothing like what our relationship is like. Like, but I didn't even want to give him any details about, like, my personal life or my wife or, like, because I just, like, the less he knows about me at this point, as far as I'm concerned, the better.
Yeah, so those kind of people, please not come here.
Yes. Okay, so new rule. No assholes. No freeloaders. No losers and no creeps. I didn't know that was a category I had to include. But Jesus Christ, like, can you imagine if he'd stayed longer? Like, how much drama and stress he would have caused in this house. Like, me from a year ago would have given him weeks to try to improve his behavior.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I'm just like, no, I am not willing to deal with this. This is not what I signed up for when I allowed you to come in my house as a volunteer. So no, I'm a Hitler for these things now. Like, zero tolerance.
Yeah.
No, straight to jail, straight to Auschwitz. Get the fuck out of here. You're verboten. You're not allowed.
Oh my God.